I remember when I created my first video and I had to go to the TV screen to view it, and some of the text were cutting out of the video, so out of the screen. I was like, wow, so there is a lot to do with the sizes of the font. As an edu video creator, you need to pay attention to the text. Are they too big? Are they going to be cutting out of the screen, or they're going to be too small and ineligible for the viewers to see what you have used on the screen? Okay, so these are the things that you need to pay attention to if you want to create a world-class, engaging educational videos. And so we are going to look at font customization tips every Edu-video creator should use. So we're going to look at few of these important tips that can help you to upgrade your video, or as a beginner that can help you to get started on the right path. And so I took a screenshot of my channel, a video on my YouTube channel, and this is what the font looks like. This is a font size of 24. It is appearing on the screen now. Of course, this looks a little bit bigger than what I have on my mobile device. The screen of my mobile device is around 4.7 inch, and it is quite clear because even the colors were quite sharper than what I think I can see now. Okay, so this is font 24 and this is quite clear. What about, let's check, looking at it in another platform. This is a video platform shown on Facebook. As you can see, the text are quite tiny. I could see them clearly on my computer screen. As well, I could also see it on my mobile device. But what of in the case whereby this font size is smaller? I will really have to strain my eyes, okay? And even as it is, if the screen is now turned in a clockwise, like for it to be in horizontal format, that means this particular text that you're seeing will be much bigger than this, probably as big as this written word home TV tutors, and I think that is quite eligible enough. So sometimes we see some text being used on mobile device. This is a typical example, a screenshot taken from Facebook mobile. You can see that the text were quite bigger or eligible enough, but if you use the same text as it is here and you come to a mobile device, it is going to be smaller because this same text is not as big as this in the software. Okay, so just make sure that the font size that you use are going to be eligible. So in order to do that, we're going to check out some of the things or some of the ways that you can achieve that. So we're going to talk about font size and styles. Let's look at these three font styles. The first font style, you can see, can you read this clearly? Maybe not quite, but this is a typical example of a font style that should not be encouraged. The second one, I think it is quite eligible enough and fancy, but it's not in all cases that you will have to use this kind of font style. Let's say, for instance, you have a 2 to 3 line sentence and you have to use this type of font. It's going to be too heavy to read. What about the third font? Wow, this is really bad. You can't use something like this. And the surprising thing is that these three fonts are of the same sizes. I mean, this is size 24 and this is size 24 and the last one too is size 24. So what do you need to do? make use of fonts that are like this. This is a typical example of a good font, Calibri, and this is size 24. This also is another font style that is very good. Erase light, you could maybe make it bold and it will be bold as the Calibri, but these two font size, as you can see here, they are of the same size. Okay, what about taking it bigger? Size 26, good. Size 26 of another font style. And if you make it bigger, the bigger you make it, the better, but don't make it too big for necessary, because if you make it so big, let's say for 28, you choose size 28 and you have like 4, 5, 6 lines of a sentence to write, that means it has already taken almost half of the screen. So size 24 still seems to be the most accommodating size and most eligible size in different font style. But there could be some font style that you may need to take it up, like the font size of that particular style for 28 will be the same size as the one of Calibri at 24. So you could watch out for that. Okay, then what about if we make it smaller? Of course, you could make the font smaller, like 22, 20 and 18, based on the fact that sometimes you may want to label a diagram, so you don't need to use something as big as 24. Just use smaller sizes, let it be eligible, because I think even having 18, size 18, or even a lesser one, size 16, should be eligible, but it is acceptable if you are using it as, for instance, you are labeling a diagram rather than to have it as for the font size for sentence, maybe like 2, 3, 4 line sentence. That will be too tiny and too strenuous for the viewers to read. Okay, so these are the tips that I wanted to discuss with you, and I hope you found one or two that you are going to apply to advance your video, or if you're starting for the first time, you now have tips that you have handy that is going to get you started in a more standard and world class. This is Edu-video Mastery Series, and I am Oluwakemi Odisoye. See you in my next video. Bye.